Explorers, I am Kita Explorer, your wonderful solo woman traveler, and today I am here to give you my ultimate Morocco travel guide, specifically around Marrakesh and Essaouira, Morocco. So we're gonna go from Marrakesh, the beautiful, bustling city, a lot of history and culture in hot weather, to Essaouira, the coastal city, beautiful views and cooler temperatures. So I'm going to talk about things from the culture to things to do, safety tips specifically coming from a woman, and I'm going to talk about so many other things. So you do not want to go to Morocco without watching this video. So let's get into it. And before we do, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It is free for you to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Now let's get into today's video. First up, let's talk about Marrakesh. We're gonna run through some quick things that you should do and see while you're in Marrakesh, Morocco. Definitely check out the minaret, La Koutoubia. It is where they are called to prayer. So in Morocco, they are called to prayer. I believe they told me 5 times a day, and it's definitely one of the things that you see pretty much from anywhere around the Medina and Marrakesh. You also want to check out Bahia Palace. Bahia Palace was originally, I can't remember the name of the person, but it was built for one person. They expanded it and they had a lot of their wives there, but Bahia, I believe, is named Brilliance, which was the main wife, and that's what the palace is named after. So it's a beautiful place. Definitely get there early because it can get crowded. And of course, you want to go to the souks. Our tour guide said there's a part of the market that is more touristy and has more souvenirs. And then in the souks, the main part of the market, you're gonna have a lot of the artisans making things locally. You can find wonderful handcrafted leather and carpets and lamps and all types of stuff made there and very affordable, and a lot of those places will ship. And with that market, definitely go during the day and at night because they have a completely different vibe between the day and nighttime. Nighttime, you're gonna see a lot of people out playing games and performing because a lot of locals go to the night market because it's cooler at night to enjoy the outside activities. Also, if you're into gardens, check out the Marjorel Gardens. Inside the gardens, there is a Berber museum. Berber is the indigenous people of Morocco, so you get to learn some of their history as well. But the gardens is beautiful. Again, it's a place you need to get to early if you want to have some peace and quiet and be able to take photos while you're there, because it's definitely, as you say, Instagram worthy. There's the Yves Saint Laurent Museum. If you are into museums, if you're into fashion, you want to learn more about Yves Saint Laurent, definitely go to the museum. Obviously, museums are not for everyone. I enjoyed the museum, especially the room where you can see a lot of his designs. You can see the designs from the drawings to the actual piece of work. Also, if you can, check out a cooking class. We took a cooking class at the La Maison Arabe. The cooking class was amazing because we cooked all the traditional dishes of Morocco. So we had chicken tagine, we had the bread, I can't remember the bread that we ate, the zalouk salad, just wonderful dishes that are local to Morocco. Now, if you want something a little more upbeat, modern, you can go to Nobu. Nobu has a wonderful rooftop that has a beautiful view of the minaret. You have lively music, there's a pool, there is a wait to get up there, so if you get there a little bit earlier at night, you might not have the wait. But it's definitely a nice vibe to enjoy the city. And if you are in Marrakesh and you want to get to the desert, you don't want to go so far out to the Sahara, you can go to the Agafay Desert. There are a lot of tours that will take you over to the desert in the evening, which is the better time to go. If you go during the day, it's going to be really, really hot. So if you go in the evening, you can go out and just do camel rides, you can have dinner in the desert, or you may want to just take transfer and stay out in the Agafay Desert for a night. Also, you want to, if you, and this could be anywhere in Morocco, but definitely try a hammam spa. If you do not like massages, you definitely will probably not enjoy this. The hammam spa is basically a traditional bath where there is someone who will actually bathe you. So they will bathe you down, scrub you down, get off a lot of dead skin, and then also you can get a massage afterwards. It was definitely a wonderful treatment. So those are some things to do in Marrakesh. Okay, now of course we have to talk about where to stay. When you're looking up for places to stay in Morocco, a lot of times you're gonna see things like riads. And if you're not familiar, you're gonna be like, what is a riad and why can't I find a hotel stay? Now you can find hotels in Marrakesh. They might be more expensive because the traditional route is riads, which also can be expensive, but they are the more traditional ways to stay. While in Marrakesh, I ended up staying in 2 different riads. The first one was Riad Pashabana. I would say that is the more budget friendly but still good service hotel or riad. Great breakfast spreads, great staff, and comfortable rooms. But it is in the Medina, and you can actually see the minaret from the top of the riad. Another place to stay is La Maison Arabe. Remember I talked about that cooking class? The cooking class is in that riad. Beautiful, beautiful place to stay. High class, luxury, comfort. It has everything there you need. And it's also in the Medina, but in a different area. I like that area better than Riad Pashabana, but it is going to cost a lot more than Riad Pashabana because you have all the things that you need in there, from restaurants to the pool, beautiful rooftop, beautiful laid out, well decorated rooms, a hammam spa, the cooking class, a gift shop. They have everything in there. But I loved La Maison Arabe. And by the way, speaking of hotel stays, you can check out both of these hotels or riads on Planin, and I will leave a QR code below that you can scan, but you can also click the link down below in the description box because you could save up to 20% or 40% off on hotel stays here at these riads or anywhere across the globe. So you definitely want to check that site out to save you a little bit of money on your next travel. Okay, now we definitely have to talk about the food, y'all, because the food in Morocco, oh my gosh, incredible food. The places that we stayed in always had wonderful breakfast spreads. Most meals you're gonna have bread that comes out at the beginning. You usually have a salad. You usually have some type of couscous in your meals. And then their biggest traditional dish is tagine. Tagine is actually a pot that they cook, the style of the cooking. So you have a pot that goes up into like a funnel top, and then you could cook so many different things in the tagine. So chicken, beef, lamb, vegetables, fish, all those things can go in there, and a variety of ingredients can go into the tagine to cook it as whoever should please to have it. Another dish that is great that you should try, which is usually more of a dessert, is the pastilla. A lot of times it's sweet and smaller in size, kind of like a samosa. Pastillas are great. I had some that were more savory, but a lot of times they were sweet. But all the dishes that I had in Morocco did not fail whatsoever. And to go along with the food that I just talked about, let me just give you a few recommendations for restaurants. In Marrakesh, I highly recommend you take a night food tour at the square. So you get to go to a lot of different street vendors. Another place to try is Lamida. It is a restaurant in the middle of the souks. The food was delicious. I can't remember the dish I had, but I can remember it was teriyaki something, and it was very good. Another delicious restaurant is Le Jardin. It is beautiful. Definitely not ADA accessible, so if you are handicapped, and a lot of these places aren't, you need to get a first floor seating, but it's a beautiful restaurant. They give you a lot of food, and the food is delicious. You can also eat at Nobu. At Nobu, I kind of just had some snacks. So I think I had dim sum and maybe spring rolls and alcohol there. The alcohol wasn't that strong. We'll talk about that later. And another great recommendation is Cabana. It is a rooftop restaurant. It has amazing view of the minaret as well. The food was very good there. I believe I had dim sum there. And we had a lot of appetizers we shared amongst the group. but very good food and amazing views. Okay, let's talk about safety in Marrakesh. As a woman, as a black woman or a black individual from the US, we had a guide, a woman guide, and she would give us some warnings if necessary. One of the warnings that she gave us was going into the souks. In parts of the souks, especially where it's very crowded, you have to worry about pickpocketing or someone snatching your bag, which is usually a concern in a lot of places you travel to, except for the US. You know, in the US, we got bigger issues to cry. But that's usually the biggest crime in Marrakesh, is in the souks when it comes to petty theft. There could be, if you're a woman, catcalling. So that's just something that you have to be aware of. I do want to just mention one thing about the souks though. If you go into the souks, into the major market in Marrakesh, which I highly recommend, is definitely a thrill to enjoy in Marrakesh. You could get lost. Your phone, the Google Maps is not going to tell you how to get out and around all the different souks, okay? It's really good to have a tour guide to help you. If you do decide to venture out into souks by yourself, be wary of petty scams again when it comes to theft. Our tour guide actually was telling us that at one point we were shopping around and there were some tourists who were lost and asked someone for directions, not the guide, but asked someone for directions on how to get back to XYZ place. She overheard the conversation and that person in the souk told them to go a different way, which was a closed part of the souk, and potentially she said there could be someone there to rob them of their belongings. She ended up overhearing the conversation and she told them the correct way to go out. So you want to be cautious of that. So that's why it's really important for you to have guidance going into the souk so you don't get lost in there, because you could potentially get lost. Now the last thing about Marrakesh I want to talk about is the currency, which is going to be applicable for Essaouira or the rest of Morocco, but they use the Moroccan dirham. You cannot use external currency in their country, and you cannot exchange for their currency until you get into Morocco, because it is a closed currency. That means you can only exchange for the Moroccan dirham within Morocco. But one thing about the dirham, make sure you get out as much as you need, because if you have too much when you get to the airport in Marrakesh and you have to leave out and you go through security, there is nowhere to exchange your money past security in Marrakesh. You can try to spend the dirham at some places within the airport, but there's not many. So you want to make sure you do not get out too much. Also, to get around Marrakesh, they do not have ride sharing. So there's no Uber, there's no Lyft. You have to use taxis. So obviously, if you can work with your riad, your hotel, your tour guide to kind of help you get around, or you can always walk, but they do not have ride sharing. So that's all about Marrakesh. Let's talk about Essaouira, the beautiful coastal city. Essaouira is right along the Atlantic Ocean, and you get this nice ocean breeze. You have mountains in the background. It is just a beautiful, gorgeous city with a lot of charm. But what are some things to do there? That they do have the Medina, where they have their own souks, their own markets. So definitely explore that and see the things that they have there. You'll have a little bit more peace and not as much going back and forth, because there's not as many people there. Go and check out the harbor. You'll see a lot of fishermen selling fish along the harbor, and it may be different fish than you have seen before. You'll also see some places within the souk that are nearby the harbor that you can check out fish there as well. They do have an old fortress that was built to protect themselves from attacks from the Portuguese. I believe it is UNESCO World Heritage Site, so definitely check that out. And I believe an episode of Game of Thrones was filmed there, or a few episodes. You can take a cooking class again, but there is a farm to table cooking class. I believe the name of the place is Akal. I hope that's how you say it. Use the things that you pick from the farm to cook your meal. You could also go to a winery. Yes, Morocco has wineries, which I was surprised to learn about a few years ago. It has a lot of French influence, so you can try the different wines if you enjoy that. You can actually stop at an Argan Oil Cooperative. But if you go to the Argan Oil Cooperative, you can see them making a lot of different things for beauty and food products. And the Argan Oil Cooperative we stopped at where the Berber women were working there, so you got to support the local area and the indigenous people. Also, you can go horseback riding on the beach, especially at sunset, which is really nice to do if you are into horseback riding. Oh, also you need to check out I can't remember the name, I have to pop up the place, but it's a silver workshop and store, so you can go in, you can see the 4 traditional styles of silver being made. You can go there and then you can go and actually buy silver, nice pure silver at a reasonable price. Okay, now let's talk about where to stay in Essaouira. While I was there, I stayed in Le Bleu, which is a riad as well. Has more of a French influence, and originally it was a house for orphans, like I think in the 1940s, and then it got repurposed 20 years ago to become this riad. It has a little more of a hotelish feel to it, but it still has the wonderful decorations and charm as a riad. You have a restaurant on site, beautiful breakfast buffet, a game room, movie room, a wonderful lounge where you can go down and sit and drink, and there's a piano player that comes in from time to time, and it is right in the entrance of the Medina. So you can literally walk out and start walking the Medina and going to the souks, the markets. The rooms are very comfortable, and you do have a wonderful TV, which I didn't talk about in Marrakesh because Riyad Pashavana did not have a TV in the room. So it was nice to get there to have a TV when I was just relaxing in the room. When you're at Essaouira, you must have more seafood because you are by the coast. That seafood is fresh off the sea. But of course, if you don't like seafood, they have other options. And if you're vegetarian, of course, they have those options. Let's talk about some places to eat. Like I said, you can have a meal at Akal, which is the farm-to-table place. You can have a meal at La Val d'Argan Winery. So obviously you can go on a winery tour, you can try the wine, and you can have a delicious meal from a salad to dessert. From your appetizer to your entree to your salad to dessert, all of it there. Really good. Also, another great place to have a meal is at Dar Baba. The chef, I believe, is from Spain, but is a cute tapas restaurant. It has multiple levels, has a beautiful design, and a lot of great food there. Definitely enjoyed my meal. That was the last meal I had in Essaouira, and I was definitely pleased. So, was only in Essaouira a few days, but definitely found some great options to eat at, as I already mentioned. Okay, now let's talk about safety in Essaouira. So, definitely a different vibe than Marrakesh. As I said, it's not as crowded. You still need to be careful if it's a very crowded area in the souks about, pickpocketing, but not as weary as Marrakesh. But other than that, it was more inviting to walk around. Without the tour guide, you will not get lost in the Medina there. Because I know one thing that was noted was to be cautious about walking around at night in dark places in Marrakesh, which I forgot to mention in that section. But in Essaouira, you definitely don't have to worry about that as much. Obviously, still use your common sense and be cautious of that nature, but not as many concerns in Essaouira as in Marrakesh. And obviously Marrakesh didn't have that many concerns either. You may experience a little bit of catcalling, but it's still not as much as in Marrakesh. And lastly, let's talk about getting around Essaouira. Again, their ride sharing is not available in Essaouira, so you will have to get a taxi. But Essaouira is pretty walkable, especially since most of the things that you're going to go to are going to be in the Medina area, which is walkable, and you can use Google Maps to easily get around and find your way. If you're gonna go a little further out, like to go horseback riding, you may want to catch a taxi there or get started earlier to walk along the beach to get there. But for the most part, you can walk it, or you're gonna have to order a taxi, or you can try to ride a bike if you want. So I've talked about Marrakesh and Essaouira and their own specialties, but let's talk about Morocco more in general. So what is the language? They actually have 4 official languages in Morocco: Arabic, French, English, and Berber. You'll find English widely available, French widely available, and Arabic. Okay, now let's talk about the dress. So I just had a what to wear video about what, as a woman dressing there. And that was one of my biggest concerns about traveling to Morocco is, what am I gonna wear and is it gonna be appropriate? Definitely be modest in your clothing. I mean, I did see some tourists there who were wearing the short shorts or, the more revealing tops. That is not appropriate. If you look at the local women, a lot of times they are fully covered. And especially in Marrakesh, not only are they covered for more religious reasons, but also it helps you from the heat, okay? Wearing a thin long sleeve shirt protects you from the sun, okay? So you don't get burnt up while you're walking around Marrakesh. So that's something you have to keep in mind, is that you need to have coverage not only for the respect of their culture, but also to keep you away from the sun. Also, let's talk about liquor. Liquor is technically not allowed in their culture. It is, I think from what the tour guide was telling us, that it is actually part of the Quran. Morocco doesn't have a separation of religion and state. Their country is ran off of the Quran. Hopefully I'm saying that right, the Quran, right? So it is a rule to not consume liquor. You know how in the US, a lot of places where we consume a lot of liquor, okay? You're not gonna run into that there. Now they do have liquor available, but it may not be as strong as if you are back home. So don't go out getting drunk in Morocco, okay? Enjoy your drinks, but don't overindulge. Also, one other thing to add is about taking photos in Morocco. Do not take photos of people in Morocco without their permission. Do not take major photography equipment with you unless you get permission from the government, because the local people, from what I have understood, one, they just don't want their photos taken, and then they don't want you to take their photos and then make a profit off of it. If you go around the souks in Marrakesh, you will actually see signs to not take photos. And you should do this anywhere. Don't just go taking pictures of people without their permission and then sell it online. That's not okay at all. So let's recap this Ultimate Morocco travel guide. So I broke down both Marrakesh and Essaouira. I talked about things to do in each of them, where to stay in each of those cities. Talked about food that you can get, the safety, based on my experience and from what the tour guide told us, how to get around. I also talked about the money exchange in Morocco. So if you have been to Morocco, tell me where in Morocco you have visited, and tell me a little bit more about your experience. If you have visited Marrakesh or Essaouira, tell me about your experience as well. And if you are from Morocco or you live in Morocco, your country is beautiful. And thank you for watching this video. Share some more insights, or maybe some other places people should visit if they come to Morocco. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. It is free for you to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Make sure you share this video with your friends, family, and social media networks, because they may be trying to go to Morocco as well. And if you found this video useful, you can leave me a tip by hitting the thanks button down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night wherever in the world you are. Bye.